Today I am going to talk to you about everything that you need to keep in mind if you have that Star Princess inaugural season booked and you're trying to decide if you're going to keep those bookings, as well as if you're considering booking anytime in the first few sailings on the Star Princess. A lot of what I talk about today will be very handy if you're considering that on any other cruise line as well. And even if you're not looking at an inaugural season, stick with me because I think a lot of the hints that I share here today will come in handy no matter what cruise you are considering booking. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Friday. It is March 29th of 2024, and thank you to those of you that noticed I didn't have a video yesterday. I was under the weather yesterday, so I couldn't do a video, but I'm happy to be here with you again today. Now, let's start at the very top and talk about a few things that happened with the launch of the Sun Princess that have really guided my thoughts and what I want to talk to you about today as far as the Star Princess goes. I want to start off with two things. First of all, I really hope that the Sun Princess was an outlier. I really and truly, I am the first one out there that is optimistic and hopes that everything goes really well with the Star Princess, that on that inaugural set to sail on August 4th of 2025, everything on that ship is working, that we get to sail on that day and everything is planned. I'm the first person to want that and to hope for that. The next thing that I think is so important, based on a lot of comments that I have seen, is a lot of people are thinking, I'm liking what I'm seeing, some of the fun venues, the new things that they have on the Sun Princess, maybe I'll book the Star Princess. You know what? I don't think that's the answer, because I truly think that some of the unique venues on the Sun Princess are going to remain unique to the Sun Princess. I don't have any insider information on that. But based on what they have done, for example, with Spellbound with the Magic Castle, that is very exclusive. It is actually, you don't realize how cool that is, that they were able to partner with the Magic Castle. There is one place in the world that you can go experience the Magic Castle, and that is at the Magic Castle. It's huge that you can now experience Spellbound on the Sun Princess. So, of course, I don't know. I might be surprised and we end up with a Spellbound on the Star Princess. But I think the Star Princess is going to have her own brand of magic, her own special things. So if you're someone that really wants to experience Spellbound, get yourself on a sailing of the Sun Princess. And it will be really fun to hear the announcements as they trickle out about the Star Princess. Alrighty, some things that we really need to keep in mind and therefore plan on as we roll forward and think about booking any of those inaugural cruises. And truly, I think anything before the first couple of months, at least the first couple of months on the Star Princess is with the Sun Princess. First of all, I am not a shipbuilder, and I am not in possession of any facts that guided any decisions. But at some point, they could see that the Sun Princess was not where she was supposed to be as far as being ready to sail on a certain date. And so they had to make the decision to go ahead and sail with everything not ready. They had to make that decision. The other decision they had to make is that they'd be willing to cancel cruises close to the sailing date. With getting closer and closer and closer and things not being ready, they had to think, okay, and I love optimism, but I'm also a realist. But as things got closer, they had to make the decision that they would be willing to cancel some sailings at close range. And then the other thing would be, not only would they be willing to sail without things quite ready with passengers on board, but not to do that shakedown cruise. We all saw, I don't know if that we all saw, so if you follow along with Don on Don's Family Vacations, we enjoyed his video. He got to go on that first few days sailing that was their shakedown cruise when they had like media on board, vloggers like Don, travel agents, people on board that they wanted to be able to have the chance to see the ship. But for example, when he talked about the Aqua Show, that didn't have the skateboarding component that it's supposed to have, and he said it clearly wasn't ready, but they said they would have it ready by the time they were ready to sail with passengers on board who actually paid for that cruise. And so as we watched that was their shakedown cruise, and so we didn't have that with Princess. like I said, they had to decide they could sell out that. So without those three things happening, I think that there are things that we need to think about if we're considering the Star Princess. Another quick history note for those of you that are new around here, people that got those cruises canceled, the very first one, that February 8th that Gordon and I were going to be on, was canceled about 2 weeks out. And you got your money back, as well as a small future cruise, I think it was 50% future cruise credit that you could use on another cruise. Gordon and I have already applied it to another cruise that we've got booked in the future. There also, you would get a very small amount for expenses that your insurance or that were not refundable to you. That's what you got if you were on one of those canceled cruises. The one that was canceled for February 18th was canceled just 4 days out, and for that one they were a little bit more generous. I believe it was $500. Don't quote me on that. I should have reviewed that before this video, but they gave a little bit more money and would reimburse you for, like, if you were already en route and needed to have hotel rooms and everything until you got home, they allowed a stipend for that. Now, does that replace everybody's expenses? No. And so here are some things that I want you to think about. Another thing that I want you to think about as we think of all of this is the Sun Princess is coming to the United States, and she is going to arrive here, I believe it's around October 9th. And so that transatlantic will get her here early October. The Star Princess is going to stay in Europe a little bit longer, which I think overall is good because they will have time to work everything out. And she is going to arrive here in the United States, I believe it's on November 5th of 2025, but right there around the beginning of November of 2025. So just that's some point of reference for everything to think about. So the other point that I think is really important to make here is, as people had their cruises canceled on the Sun Princess, a lot of people complained, and I get that. And then as people boarded the Sun Princess on February 28th and everything was not working, the entertainment wasn't running, and still all the dining venues are not open, people were complaining a lot. And I get that. You pay for a cruise, you go expecting a certain experience, you can't experience that. I get it. But you know that saying, like, first time, shame on them, second time, shame on you. So with all of the knowledge that we have under our belt, I feel like if we go get on the inaugural of the Star Princess August 4th or whatever day she actually sails and everything is not going, we should have known to expect that, right? Because we just saw it happen with the Sun Princess. I truly hope it does not happen again. But like I said, the writing is on the wall. And so I'm really hoping that the writing on the wall is different for the Star Princess. But here's some things I want you to keep in mind. First of all, if you book that inaugural cruise, especially the inaugural or one of those first few ones, you've got to accept that you might be canceled, and you might be canceled on short notice. So just have the flexibility in your schedule. If you are someone that has to ask for vacation time way in advance, you don't have flexibility with your vacation time in that you can't say, my cruise just got canceled, I'm going to go ahead and work, I'll put in for vacation another time. If you don't have that luxury, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't book that. Another thing that I would keep in mind is I would pay attention. Make sure that you've got really good insurance. Make sure that you've got really good insurance for if the cruise sails, and make sure that you've got really good insurance if the cruise doesn't sail. Make sure that you know what your insurance actually covers. And before I started paying so much attention, I would say I was in the pile of people that would have insurance, and I just knew I had insurance. I didn't really know what it covered. But you know what? Those days are gone for all of us. We really have to know what our insurance covers. I'm not an insurance broker. I'm not going to advise you on your insurance, but make sure that you know what your insurance covers. Now, along with that, think about how you book your flights, okay? We saw that with people who were on either one of those canceled cruises, when those cruises were canceled, the flights that went with them were also canceled, and people got their money back if they had booked with Princess Easy Air. If you did not book your flights with Princess Easy Air, then you would either hope that your travel insurance would cover those flights if you booked non-refundable, or if you had booked refundable, you had bought your insurance separate, then you would get your money back for your flights. Because, as you book your flights on your own, whether you do it with Expedia or whether you do it through Delta, American I'm familiar with, I believe with United as well, you go through, and during the process, they'll let you buy insurance for those flights. So you can either book so that it comes back as an e-credit, or you can buy that insurance so that if anything unexpected happens, you get your money back. So pay attention to how you book your flights, all right? Either book them with Princess, and I'm not the biggest fan out there of Easy Air, but I shouldn't say that. We used it like 13 times without a glitch, and now I'm not going to use it. But make sure that you know how you're booking your flights. And another thing I think is really important is if you book them so that you don't just like automatically book so that you get your money back as an e-credit. It really depends on how much you're going to fly if you're going to be able to use that e-credit in time. A lot of e-credits now expire in 6 months. So if you are someone that doesn't fly really often, or you wouldn't rebook that trip immediately, make sure that you buy some insurance to cover that if you book those on your own, okay? Or just book them with Easy Air, because then if it's canceled, it's just canceled and you get your money back. Make sure you pay attention to all the little things that we didn't used to have to pay attention to. Well, we did, but anyway, make sure you pay attention to all that. Another really important thing I want you to think about is how you book your hotels. This day and age, when you book a hotel, almost always there is a refundable cost. If you want to book that way, it's a little bit cheaper. I usually don't see it huge. It depends on the cost of the hotel and how long you're going to stay there. But there is a little bit of a difference between booking a refundable hotel room and booking a refundable hotel room. Here's some things to think about. First of all, when you book a refundable hotel room, they always have a day that you have to cancel by if you're not going to be staying there. Here's where another important thing comes in here. During August, that is part of the high season in Europe. It is here too. It's during the busy travel time. And so hotels cost more, and that window that you have to cancel by is usually longer before the night before you're going to arrive at the hotel. When you travel in the off season, usually they have that cancellation date closer to when you're going to stay. Okay, so make sure that you pay a lot of attention to that cancel by date. If you book a non-refundable hotel room and then you don't use it and you submit that to the insurance, I don't think they're going to pay for it because you booked a non-refundable hotel room. If you booked a refundable hotel room and something happens that you're not able to be there for it, then you can submit it to your insurance. Okay, so just think of some of these things when you book your hotel rooms. Along with that, and so that's, to me, part of being aware of what your insurance covers. And then the other thing that I want you to think an awful lot about is I think you're going to have to be willing to lose a little bit of money. And the reason that I say that is when you prepare to go to Europe at a time when you're going to go on a cruise, often you stay a little bit before or a little bit after. And you'll book tickets to go see things. For example, we were going to sail out of Barcelona, and we were and I should add, during the off season is when the Inaugural was booked, was sailing for the Sun Princess. And so it ended up for Gordon and I that our flight was going to land, that we were going to have to see if we could make it from the airport, assuming that our flight would be on time, hurry to the hotel, put down our luggage, and walk over to Sagrada Familia, trying to make it there so that we'd have a chance to go in for just a little while before it closes, because it closes early or during the off season. There were lots of tickets available, so we actually hadn't bought our tickets. Now, some people in our group had bought their tickets, and I don't think that they were able to get reimbursed for them because insurance doesn't cover everything. So you're going to have to be willing to lose a little money, I think, here and there. When you go in August, you're not going to just walk up to Sagrada Familia and get tickets. You're going to have to book those in advance, and that's the same with a whole lot of other places that you're going to want to visit when you go to different places before or after your cruise or during your cruise. That brings us to excursions. If you book your tours through anybody other than Princess, if you book through Princess and the cruise is canceled, it's going to be refunded to you. But if you book any third-party tours, either during the cruise, before or after, make sure that you know what the cancellation policy is, and if there is anything that your insurance is not going to cover with that, just be really aware of what it is that you're booking, like I said, and everything that goes with it, because you could also lose that money as well. One of our Let's Go family members, and boy do I appreciate you all pitching in, let us know that their travel insurance did not consider a ship not being ready to sail as a covered reason. So that goes in the pile of who would have ever thought you had to worry about that when you were buying buying your insurance. So make sure what your insurance is going to cover. We are going to do our live this evening. We're going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So bring your questions and come just be ready for a fun time talking about cruising. We're excited about our group cruise next week. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, will you please subscribe? I'm a firm believer that we need to have you all here with us, and it will be more fun the more there are of us. So please subscribe, and if you appreciate my updates, will you please give this video a thumbs up? It helps us out way more than you think, so thank you. Okay, here's a couple of other things just to think about. If you're going to book those inaugural cruises in advance, you're going to have to make the decision. If that cruise gets canceled, are you going to stay home, or are you going to plan some things on the side so that you're able to go on your vacation during that time? I don't know what's right and wrong about that, but make sure that you make that decision, and so you know what you're going to do if it gets canceled at the last minute. Another really important thing I think to think about is really analyze in your mind why you want to be on an inaugural cruise. Now, here's part of the fun of cruising, because we all approach it in really different ways. We all really enjoy different things, which is part of what makes it so fun, right? And so really think, though, is it a big deal to me to be on an inaugural cruise? If I didn't do YouTube, I wouldn't care. And I am really still thinking through my mind what I think Gordon and I should do about that, because part of me wants to be on right away. I am so excited. I was so excited to arrive to the Sun Princess, more excited. I don't know why I was so excited, but I was really excited. So it's going to be really fun to go see the Star Princess. And because we do YouTube, I want to show you all what she looks like and how everything is on a brand new ship, and experience that kind of with you, because we take you with us. And so that's why I want to do it. If I didn't do YouTube, I'd be happy to wait until I knew everything was running very smoothly and everything was operating on the ship as it should be. My honest hope is that this has been a really good learning experience with the people there at Princess, and if things are not going well, we will hear months out if we have to cancel any of those cruises, so this will be a non-issue. But so far we haven't, and so I really want you to think about that. And even if like the first cruise was canceled, then you have to be worrying about what's going to work on the second cruise, right? And so just all of these things to think about. Does this mean I don't think you should book the Star Princess? Absolutely not. Does it mean I don't think you should book the Inaugural? But I really do think you should go in with your eyes wide open and know what to expect. I know that our eyes are wide open, and I'll let you know what else I think of. But if I have missed anything, well, those of you who have thought of anything else, please put it in the comments. I thought it would be also really fun to hear if any of you have the Star Princess booked and what sailing you've got booked. I am really excited, so excited for another ship. I'm really excited. Here we are. The Ascent will be sailing for a year by the time Gordon and I get on her in November. And but I am still really excited. She's a new ship. She is something new to Celebrity, so I just get really excited for new ships, and I really appreciate you all being here with me. So I'll see you all here again tomorrow, and I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.